Sup my dudes, Valkyrja. Today I want to talk to you about Jing Yuan. Now I know I got a guide in the works, but I wasn't able to really work on it today. Some stuff came up, so I'm just going to give you guys my review for now, because I know a lot of you guys are waiting to see what I think, whether or not you should pull for Jing Yuan. So before I get into any of my thoughts, I want to show you guys where I have him, so you guys can see where my build's at, so you can compare it compared to yours. Spoiler alert, it's not very good. Keep in mind, my relics aren't very good on any of my characters. I'm kind of using what I got, so let's get into it. So this is my Jing Yuan. Now keep in mind, like I said, I'm just using what I have. In the end, whenever I get into the guide, I'll tell you guys what I think is the most optimal way to build him. But for now, this is what I have. I have him at 3k HP, almost 3k attack. Here on more stats, you can see I don't have any lightning damage on him because I'm running him attack, because it's what I have. So once again, like I said, I'm just using what I got because I can't really farm relics right now if I'm farming all the XP mats for all these characters. So traces, I have him on level 8 on his talent, level 7, level 4. I think level 7 is a good stopping point for most characters because past level 7 you start using weekly boss mats. So whenever you see me showcase characters in the future, keep in mind they're probably going to be level 7. And then as for relics, here's what it is. I actually think Inert Sosado and the Cowboy set are actually his best sets. I think this is right. But the pieces I have on him individually are not very good. So yeah, I still got to work on that. As you can see, attack. These pieces are not very good. And then you can see E0 with the Herta's Weapon Light Cone. I think this one is a really good one, especially for like free to play. But if you're like me, you have it on SI1. I would recommend Seriousness of Breakfast over it at SI1 because this only boosts Lightning Lord. It doesn't boost his personal damage. So let's go ahead and let me talk about my experiences and how I think of him and just give you guys a general review of where I think he sits. So all in all, Jing Yuan has some really big strengths and some really big weaknesses, and one thing that I want to talk about is that he pairs up extremely well with Bronya and Asta specifically. Those two, I know people will be like, but what about Ting Yong? Ting Yong's also very good, but Asta provides speed boost, which allows him to consistently get more than one action in turn for Lightning Lord, because the speed boost does not affect Lightning Lord, it only affects Jing Yuan. And Asta can also help with Toughness Shred, so Asta's a really good pairing. And then obviously I think Bronya is the best pairing because it just makes it so you get really consistent high stacks on Lightning Lord. But here comes the issue. His damage, while being very high, I think he has the highest multiplier in the game currently on his talent with how many times it hits at max stats. His damage, while being very high, is also very slow. Whereas you have characters like Sela who can get resets, you have characters like Yang Ching who can pop off in a single turn, and the damage carries over. Jing Yuan's damage is dependent on Lightning Lord specifically. Now, I know this in part is due to my Light Cone. If you have his 5-star Light Cone, the damage is more spread out. But in the end, the highest multipliers in his kit are on Lightning Lord himself. And Lightning Lord is slow. Now, that being said, it's not really a downside because he does one action that not a lot of characters in the game take advantage of currently. The only ones I can think of are Sempo and Asta. He does Toughness Shred. He absolutely murders toughness bars extremely well. He's a very strong character for that. If you're asking like who should you run, whether him or Sela, I would run Sela over him personally, depending on the team you need. But if you need like somewhat AoE damage, or if the boss is weak to lightning, heaven forbid, if the boss is weak to lightning and fire specifically, him and Asta make an absolute mockery of any bosses because they just are able to absolutely nuke that toughness bar and proc weakness on a consistent basis, and not to mention the amount of damage he does behind it. In the end, I think the game state is going to move to a point where it's more about not giving your opponents turns rather than it is about doing giant damage. So characters like Welt I think will be good investments in the future if you ever manage to get Welt. So I don't think Jing Yuan is going to be super relevant later on, but in the end of the day, this is a Hoyo game. So if you really like Jing Yuan, you really want to make him work, you really want to make him good, you can. You absolutely can, because Jing Yuan is an absolute powerhouse whenever it comes down to it. But in the long run, I don't see him being as strong as other characters as we get more into turn manipulation and just letting the enemies go less. Letting the enemies take less actions, because if you're going to be doing things like using skill points and having the enemies take less action, or using skill points on damage that slows down the enemies or things like that, you're going to be taking away skill points or potential stacks from Jing Yuan, and because Lightning Lord functions as its own thing, that's kind of ends up being kind of tricky. And not to mention Lightning Lord also kind of targets whatever the hell Lightning Lord wants to target. If you have more than one enemy, Lightning Lord can go and just drop an absolute bomb on an enemy that's on 1 HP, and then you're only splashing onto the boss, and it can be kind of weird in that sense. So to summarize it all up, I think he's a very hard-hitting unit, but I have some concerns for him in the future. His future viability after playtesting him a bunch. I have some concerns about his future relevance, but in the end, like I said, this is a Hoyo game. This is a use who you like game. I feel like if you actually build him up very, very well, it's not really going to matter, and you're going to murder anything, especially stuff that has lightning weakness. Anyways, that's the video. A quick one for you guys today. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.